Kunal and Partho. Uh, Partho, welcome to the new podcast on Ashtavakra Gita. We had started this, I think, we've done a couple of podcasts on this so far.
We touched upon the first 3-4 slokas.
Yes, so the first podcast we did was on Ashtavakra, and it's somewhere placement with Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
How they are different, and this is more radical and all that. We had done a macro one, and then we've gone into the first 3-4 shlokas of
That's right.
Ashtavakra, which is essentially the conversation between Janak and Ashtavakra, when Janak starts asking the question, how to realize what is the truth, how does one...
First piece slokas are Ashtavakra telling Janak
Yes.
about what he is. That's what the Ashtavakra is, self-realization. So,
Yes.
what are you? So, yes.
More direct, more radical, more realized.
Absolutely direct.
So would like to continue this if you don't mind. So we had gone to the first 4 shlokas last time. If we can move on to the 5th one, and maybe then we can discuss a little bit around 5th, 6th, a couple of 2-3 shlokas maybe.
Natum vipradiko varna na shami na kshagochara asango asi nirakaro vishwasakshi sukhi bhava. Very simply stated, you do not belong to any caste, not to the Brahmins, which is the most superior of the caste, not to any caste. You don't belong to any of the ashramas of life, the ashrama, the 4 ashramas of Hindu life, which is brahmacharya, grihast, vanapras, sannyas. So you don't belong to any of these ashrams. You don't belong to any of the castes. So na tum vipradiko varna na shami, not no ashram. Then it's very interesting. So it says you are not akshagochara. Akshagochara is visible to the eyes. So you're not akshagochara, nakshagochara. You are not visible to the eyes. Which means you're not this physical self, which is this caste and that caste and this ashram and that. You're not even visible to the eyes. You're beyond matter and mind. Asangoasi. Sangha is an attachment. Asangoasi, you're unattached to anything. Because if you're not matter and mind, if you're neither matter nor mind, then what is your attachment? You're the ever detached. Nirakaro. You don't have a form of your own. You're asangoasi nirakaro. Vishwasakshi. You're the witnessing consciousness of this universe.
Cool.
You're the sole witness of all life, of all existence. Vishwasakshi. Know this to be your real state, and sukhi bhava. Be happy, be at peace. And the next shloka, the 6th shloka. That goes on to say, dharma-adharmo sukham dukham manasani nato vibho. Na kartasi na bhoktasi mukta evasi satvada. This is an even more important, more radical statement on who Janak is. Dharma, dharma, sukham, dukham, which means dharma, adharma, in a simple way, that which is right and that which is not right. Dharma is that which is true, which is virtuous, which is right, and adharma, which is not right, which is not moral. In a very simplistic way, dharma itself, the understanding of dharma will go very, very deep within it. So, dharma, adharma, sukham, dukham, happiness, unhappiness, fortune, misfortune, manasani, these are all mental constructs. Manasani. Nato vibho, it's not of you, it's your mental creation. These, it's are all mental creations, mental constructs. None of it is you, which means you're not, what Ashtavakra is saying is you're not dharma, you have nothing to do with dharma, adharma. You have nothing to do with happiness, unhappiness, good, bad, fortune, misfortune, and all these pairs of dualities. You have nothing to do with them. You're none of them. You're not this, you're not that. No. Na kartasi, na bhoktasi. You're neither the karta nor the bhokta. You are not the doer nor the enjoyer of action. You're neither the doer nor the enjoyer. Na kartasi, na bhoktasi. Muktevasi sarvada. You are forever free.
So if dharma and adharma is also a mental construct or something in the mind, um, if I may bring in Bhagavad Gita, where the whole fight happened because of the base of the dharma is Shri Krishna brought in that, you must do what is your dharma, hold the highest order of your dharma, and you have to fight and kill your family and cousins and all that. uh, there's no need to compare as such, but that's just a slight, let's say, contradiction that's arising in my mind.
I wouldn't call this a contradiction. The contexts are different. And, in the Ashtavakra Gita, they are using the two word dharma and adharma. So we have to understand dharma and adharma in its widest and deepest sense. There are many translators who say, no, dharma is virtue and adharma is sin. And that's a very simplistic understanding, though that's right too. At a superficial level, it is dharma is virtue, adharma is sin. So, virtue and vice, good deeds, bad deeds, that which is right, that which is wrong, all this also is part of dharma. But because we are using the word dharma and adharma, we also have to go beyond the social right, social wrong, moral right, moral wrong, what is ethical, what is not ethical, to go beyond that and go to the deepest level of dharma, that which comes from truth and that which poses the truth, dharma and adharma. And you are beyond both. So you are that pure consciousness which is beyond dharma and adharma. And if one can say beyond dharma and adharma, then one is also saying beyond the vyakt and the avyakt, beyond the manifestation and the unmanifest, beyond that which is manifest and that which is not manifest. So you are that. Sukham dukham, of course, yes. That which is, sukham is happiness and unhappiness. But happiness, unhappiness, sukham dukham also includes all the other pairs of dualities, all the other dvandvas of human nature. So Ashtavakra is saying, none of all this is you. You are none of all this. In a way, it's Prakriti. And what Ashtavakra seems to be saying is that dharma and adharma also apply to the plane of Prakriti, to the earth plane, that which evolves from let's say, lower dharma to higher dharma. So all that is evolution, plane of Prakriti, where the battle for dharma is important because these are decisive movements of evolution. But what Ashtavakra is saying is you're beyond evolution.
Yeah, I think
You're beyond evolution. And he's already told you you're not visible. You're not even matter or mind. You're beyond evolution. You're not the doer. You're not the enjoyer. Neither the doer nor the enjoyer of the fruits of action. You are the sole witness of all existence. You are the witness of all existence. You're not part of it. You're not involved with it. You're witnessing everything, but nothing is touching you. Nothing is affecting you. You're unattached.
that's a different.
Asanghoasi. You're unattached.
That's a description of the soul, the
You're describing Shiva here.
Shiva. Yeah.
You're describing the supreme consciousness. You're describing the self,
Yes.
the supreme self, the Atma. You're describing the Atma here. So that is what self-realization is all about. Realizing that you are the Atma and therefore beyond matter and mind.
And when he says this, when Ashtavakra is saying this to Janak, he's trying to tell this to Janak so he can realize himself or consciousness within himself or the Shiva within himself. But at the same time, on the Prakriti plane, surely the form Janaka and the consciousness behind, it's not different necessarily, but it is manifesting from one to many. So Ashtavakra has his own consciousness also, I mean, which may be the same consciousness, but it's not the sole witness in some sense, I was thinking. And so my question is that, so he said that you are the sole witness, which is not affected by anything else or anyone else. Everything is within you. At least on the plane, when two people are having this conversation, there is a one to many manifestation of the maybe the same.
Ashtavakra is teaching, let's use the word teaching, Janak on the earth plane. So there are two individuals.
Yes. Of sorts. At least that's how it's manifesting from one to many, and then it connects back to the same Shiva eventually, or same Krishna, whatever.
Understand what Ashtavakra is. And Ashtavakra is a fully realized being.
So he himself as a Shiva, when he says Janaka, you are the sole witness,
Because he knows.
because he knows.
Who can say you are beyond mind and matter? You're the eternal witness to all existence. Who can say that? Only someone who knows what it is all about. Only someone who has realized the self can say it. Ashtavakra is a self-realized being. And he's not teaching Janak. Self-realized beings like Ashtavakra don't teach. Every single statement, every single vakya that they utter, that they transmit, is a realization. It's not just mental gyan. It has the force of realization. So if a being like Ashtavakra says you are the eternal self, then that statement goes to you with all the power and light of Ashtavakra's realization. So it goes right into your consciousness and sprouts there. And as you will see in this dialogue, Ashtavakra realizes who he is just by listening to Janak. Sorry. Janak realizes who he is, his true self, just by listening to Ashtavakra. Janak comes to self-realization just by listening to Ashtavakra. And here we understand what listening is. It's not just the kind of listening human beings do. This is listening of a yogic kind, where it's a movement of consciousness into consciousness. And the consciousness that is Ashtavakra here knows itself to be the one consciousness, Ekam Sat. So if this consciousness knows itself to be the only consciousness, and then it transmits that knowing to the other Nam Roop, let's say, because it's only one consciousness. That's one consciousness in you and in me, in Ashtavakra and in Janak. But then there is a movement within this. So as you were asking your question, if on the earth plane, there are two people, yes, Nam Roop, the Ashtavakra Nam Roop and the Janak Nam Roop. But the Nam Roop, it is, for Janak, it's still Nam Roop because he's still not realized. But there's no such Nam Roop identification for Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra is realized, the self. So the character of the dialogue, the quality of the dialogue is very different from most other dialogues we encounter, even in scriptures.
The seventh one.
eko drishtasi sarvasya mukt prayosi sarvada. Ayameva hi te bandho drishtaram pashyasitaram. So again, another very, very beautiful and very powerful shloka. You are the one seer of all that exists, and therefore you are ever free. But your only bondage is the fact that you don't know the seer, that you think the seer is other than what it is. The self, the seer, is identified with Nam Roop. So when you are the seer, being the seer, the one witness to all existence, being the seer, when you are identified with the Nam Roop, that is your only bondage. Ayameva hite bandho drishtaram pashyasitaram.
And this is a harder thing for a human mind to grasp, that seer cannot be seen.
Yes,
Because, I mean, forget the seer, we cannot even see our own eyes
yes,
unless it's a reflection of something.
yes, because it's not the eyes that are seeing, it's the
Yes,
vision.
it's a vision.
So neither the eyes, nor the brain, nor the nervous system.
Hmm.
And that which it's actually seeing through all these instruments that cannot be seen, that's the self. But that seer gets, that seer, the drishta it gets identified with various nam roops, with various formations of the aham, ahankaras. And those are the veils over your reality. And what Ashtavakra is doing is removing those veils. So in Vedanta, we call it superimpositions, adhiropa, on the self. So you are Kunal, you're a man, you're an Indian, you do this work and you have these things, you possess this, you possess, all these are adhiropas. If you remove all of them one by one, what will remain at the end of it is the pure self. And that's what he's talking about here.
And that pure self goes beyond space, time, body, mind, life, everything.
Yes.
That is,
Because that's all this is matter and mind. Everything that you've said applies to matter and mind. Pure self is neither matter nor mind. So what I love here is the fact that after he tells you eko drishtasi sarvasya mukta prayosi sarvada, he says ayamev hito bandhu drishtaram. There's only one bondage, and I love this. Ayameva hi te bandho drishtaram pashyasitaram. That your identification with what you're not is your only bondage. That the seer that you are was identified with that which is not the seer, the seen. So the identification of the seer with the seen, the seer with something that is perceived, an object of the senses, that is your only bondage. Shun that.
yeah, that was the first shloka.
Yes. And you're free. And know you're said to be free, because that is what you are. You're eternally free, and be happy.
So every shloka is bringing back to the same point. That,
Yes, Ashtavakra is like that. It's every note of the Ashtavakra, every shloka brings you back to the self that you are. And it goes on like it's no like drum beats repeatedly till Janak realizes, till he wakes up.
it's just different ways of saying the same thing.
Yes.
And in the full.
Yeah. It's actually so many ways of saying the same thing, that you're the eternal self. You're beyond mind and matter, beyond space and time. And it goes on, like, as I said, like rhythmic drum beats till Janak wakes up to what he is. And then he says, Aho, he wakes up. I am the self-realized one. I am the self. I am the eternal self. And then, end of story. You've realized.
Great. On that realization, Partho, we'll end this conversation for now, but great enlightenment and thanks for sharing. And we look forward to maybe continuing some other drum beats in some of our next conversations.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.